Hey everybody, welcome to Geekoholics Anonymous, episode 141. I'm your host Rico, here with my co-host,
Mr. Dane Cody.
Mr. Dane Cody and I get together once a week, except for when I am replaced by an excellent stand-in. Last week, Mr. Jude Brown. I was on vacation. You guys recorded a show without me.
Yeah, we figured, what the hell?
Yeah.
Why let you off gallivanting around the world stop us?
I didn't think it was going to happen. And meanwhile, I get these files messaged to me, and I'm like, oh, shit, they did it. And I'm like, oh, I got to download this stuff because otherwise it's going to be a couple days before I get it up. And
yeah,
I'll tell you, our hotel internet was painful.
I can imagine.
I spent probably 4 or 5 hours downloading both the audio files.
Oh, wow.
And I was editing the podcast in the Honolulu airport on the way back. I managed to just upload it on the free Wi-Fi before I got on my plane back home.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty. I was like, I can do this. I can do it. And it just worked out. But man, yeah, you guys did a great job. I really liked it.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. It was a really good show.
When you edit it, you don't really listen to it. I just had to adjust levels and make sure you guys were in sync and so forth. So I don't listen to the whole thing. I just line up the start and end and assume the rest of it's okay, which most of the time it is. And, yeah. So when I finally got back to work on Monday, I had to listen through it, and I'm like, wow, I may be looking for a hosting job. You guys are good. I laughed, and you guys only took a piss out of me, at least 10 or 20 times.
Well, obviously, if you're gone off in Hawaii, we have to, right?
I'm a pretty easy target. Let's, I leave myself open. But yeah,
no, it was great. Jude and I had a good time, and we had a good show. So.
Yeah, it was a good show. Good job, guys.
Yeah, a lot of fun.
If you've never been here before, we get together once a week, talk about video games, TV, movies, and or whatever the hell we like. Primarily video games. Start the show off with what we've been playing, get into some news and stuff, public service announcements if we have any, and of course our free-for-all. Yeah. So I was in Hawaii last week.
Yes, you were.
Enjoying the beach and the pool and some downtime with, obviously my little girl goes to bed earlier. So, we can't exactly run around and go party and ditch her ass. So we were in the hotel room watching TV or movies. And actually, I played,
Did you bring the Switch?
Yeah, I played a bunch of Switch. It was the only system I brought. I usually bring my 3DS and Vita and Switch. When the Switch was new, I still brought those other systems.
Right.
But yeah, no, they're done. They're retired. I don't think I will be playing my Vita or 3DS at all anymore. So I was catching up on my Switch pile of shame and was playing some Shovel Knight, the new expansion.
Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot that even came out. Man.
Yeah, Specter, I think it was shortly after the Switch launched, they launched Shovel Knight, the Treasure Trove, I think is what they call it, which is the original Shovel Knight, the Plague Knight expansion, and then the Specter Knight expansion, which is the most recent one, which had just come out at that time frame. But I hadn't played through the Specter Knight campaign or Specter of Torment. I think I talked about it when it first came out, but I just finished that off on our trip. I think I was halfway through the campaign when I started it. It's a little
okay, so not totally. Was it as long? Was it shorter?
It's probably as long. It's a little different. Did you ever end up playing Shovel Knight?
No, I watched a bunch of streams. Like I said, I've seen a bunch of Shovel Knight. I know very much what it is and stuff, but
for those
I haven't played it myself.
Don't know. Shovel Knight is a side-scrolling platformer, hack and slash, aka kind of shooter. It's like Mega Man and Adventure of Link, or like Zelda, but 2D. there's gear, there's power-ups, like special items, different armor. Shovel Knight, the original version, has like a overworld similar to like, say, Super Mario Brothers 3, where you go from one stage to another and so forth. And at the end of every stage, there's a boss, right? Shovel Knight, the whole concept is the what are they? The Order, I can't remember their name. It's a group of bad knights that you got to take out, and as Shovel Knight, you take them out and finish the campaign. And anyway, you're going across this map, and different stages or different bosses, a la Mega Man-esque, but it's a side scroller. And Shovel Knight, he has a shovel. Basically, he just has a melee attack. He does get some ranged magic attacks and some different ranged attacks, but primarily he's melee. And then they redid the whole campaign for Plague Knight. And he's actually kind of ranged. He hurls like little bombs or potions.
Right, because you play as a different character in
totally
like, the expansions, right?
So that was the second one, which came out, I don't know, a year or two after the original Shovel Knight. And then this one, Specter of Torment, you play as, is it Specter Knight? What did I say? Plague Knight. No. Did I say Plague Knight? God damn it. I'm like a brain fart now.
All of your knights. All the knights are getting jumbled up.
Yeah, they're getting me all confused. So he plays very different. He's like a little Grim Reaper guy. And, it's Specter Knight. Plague Knight is from the second expansion.
Right.
Oh, I got all tripped up. So Specter Knight, he's melee, but he also has like a slash attack. So if you jump in the air, he kind of auto targets and slashes towards the enemy. So it kind of has like an air dash, aka slash. But he can also slash like, say, lamps and different stuff in the environment and get like tons of air. So like, say you jump and slash diagonally, you'll like fly up and diagonally and get much more distance on your jump. So some of the platforming involves you using his like tricky slash maneuver to traverse giant gaps without, timing it properly, because there's no ground below you and you're like slash, slash, slash. And meanwhile, you're like flying through the air, like on like an upward trajectory and kind of bouncing through the air and using this slash attack to keep extending your jump while you're flying through the air.
Okay. So you can kind of use that to almost in a weird way fly.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, but it's not a double jump, but it's kind of like a double jump. But it's a double jump that requires you to hit something, whether it be an enemy or, they, like I said, they have lamps in some of the environments or whatever. So it's quite different than Shovel Knight, because Shovel Knight can only jump and he can downward thrust. He doesn't have a double jump, so he only has like regular platforming, whereas the platforming with Specter Knight is quite different because they can make you do these tricky slash jumps. I don't know what they call it, like through the air,
right?
And you have to get across some tricky gaps or through enemies without falling, and juggling yourself through the air with well-timed attacks. So it's quite challenging in some stages compared to Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight's just like jump, attack guy, jump, attack guy. Not
Shovel Knight wasn't a roguelike, right?
No, it's not. They're all like they're authored levels.
Just just
like a Mega Man game, and then you fight a boss. And I think different abilities or magic abilities might have bosses might be susceptible to different magic attacks or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, it's definitely harder than Shovel Knight. It's still the same levels remixed, the same bosses. Some of the attacks might be different, but man, some of the stages and bosses were really hard. Like I was dying a lot and getting pretty frustrated in some parts, but yeah, I managed to plug through and beat it. It's actually, that campaign's actually a prequel. The story of that campaign is essentially the entire setup to Shovel Knight. Like the Shovel Knight game and why Shovel Knight's on. Yeah, so it's kind of neat. So Specter Knight's whole campaign is like a total prequel to the game, and it's actually a pretty neat story. And then, of course, after I beat it, I immediately went back and started playing Shovel Knight again. So I did like 3 or 4 stages of that. But then when we were getting ready to leave, I heard a lot of noise about this game called Celeste.
Yeah, I was reading about this. I don't think it's a game for me, but it looks very interesting.
I believe it's on everything. It's from the maker of Towerfall. It's a single player campaign. Switch, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Windows. Linux and Mac. Wow. It's got...
they released that bad boy on everything.
Yeah, and I believe this is like a one-man or like a very tiny studio. Like the guy who made Towerfall, this Matt guy.
I think I was hearing like there's like 6 people or something like that in the studio. Like, so it's pretty small.
So they stepped it up, but I think Towerfall was a one-man show. But Towerfall was quite successful. But yeah, this is the follow-up to that. It's another side-scrolling platformer that is very freaking hard. It's all about jumping, grabbing, climbing, and boosting your way through essentially little like rooms. Your character Celeste is basically going up this mountain. I don't know why. I haven't unveiled enough story. There is a story that tells you that you piece together as you go through this. But it starts out very simple. Here's some gaps you jump over, use your kind of air dash move, grab onto a wall, climb up. Okay, next room. And it's done room by room.
Okay.
And
so kind of like Super Meat Boy?
It's like, it's very like Super Meat Boy. It's it's trial and error. You're going to die lots. You instantly respawn. Your little air dash move recharges when you land on the ground. So you can't...
but you have to stay there in order for it to actually recharge?
You can't bash it, or you can't spam it. So like if you use it to get across a big gap, you can't use it again if you miss your jump. You hopefully can climb the wall and climb up onto a solid surface, and then it'll like recharge, and then you can use it again. And each room is like it's like a little puzzle. There's like a perfect way to execute each room, like jump here, dash through this gap, grab this wall, climb up, jump, dash, next room. Oh, there's a secret item over there. I got to do some tricky maneuvers over some spikes or through some gaps. And it's all like involves like pretty decent timing.
Right.
And it's like a 16-bit, 8-bit, 16-bit pixely aesthetic, you know.
Yeah.
Just kind of like Towerfall.
I read somebody online finished the game.
Yeah, I'm looking. I can see that story right now. The speedrunner?
No,
different.
No, it was somebody else, and they posted I can't remember how long it took them to actually get through the game, but they died over 1,400 times.
I died 80 something times in the first chapter. After you beat a chapter, it shows you how many items you got, or how many you got out of how many were in the level. And how many times you died. And just in the first chapter, I died like 80 times.
Wow.
So how
many levels were in the first chapter? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Oh.
My game clock is around 3 hours or something, it says.
Okay.
I played a bunch today. I got pretty far in the second chapter, but man, does it really ramp up the insanity. There's some new mechanics. There's enemies now that are kind of like chasing me, almost like shadows. So it makes it much trickier when you have to backtrack in a level, because you got to remember what path you went so you don't intersect with the enemies, because they're essentially following your exact path.
Whoa, wow, okay.
So there's some really tricky, like, okay, I got to go here, wait a second, now jump over my shadow, and then it'll be clear, because I know I went, they're still doing the motion I'm just finished doing, which is kind of neat. It's a really cool game. It's got great music. It's a tough puzzle platform, side-scrolling puzzle platformer. If you like Super Meat Boy or those types of games, then they'll be right up your alley. It's excellent.
Super hard, and
it's not super hard that it's that frustrating because of the room by room thing. You know, it might
it's
take
a little
you a bunch
easier to kind of get through.
Yeah, it might take a bunch of tries to get through. I wouldn't say it's easy, but you know what you need to do, and it just comes down to execution. And when you do it, it's like, that felt good.
Okay, that's fair.
It's like the Dark Souls of platforming.
Dark Souls, Super Meat Boy.
it's a platform Souls.
Fair enough.
I enjoy it. Yeah, I agree with all the positive praise it's been getting online. It was 20-something bucks. Obviously, Switch is the perfect platform for it.
Were you playing it in handheld mode?
Yeah, I was playing it on the plane on my way back.
Okay.
I've only played it in handheld mode like all day not all day today, but on my break today I played a little bit at work. It's a cool game.
Oh, that's fair.
I like it. I recommend the Switch, though. Sometimes the Joy-Cons can be a pain in the ass, but I found sometimes doing the diagonals on the analogs were problematic. Like I meant to diagonally jump up and I'd just go straight left or right. But I got that figured out. It's just kind of like your hand placement. You got to be a little more precise. It probably has something to do with the combination of holding the whole system in your hand, and maybe your thumb's you're not quite getting that upward angle that you think you're getting, you know?
Yeah. I find with the Joy-Cons myself, when they're just not nearly, I don't know, I don't like them nearly as much as like using the Pro Controller. Just, I find they're like more clunky, and just the way, for me, for whatever reason, I find it's way more difficult. Or I shouldn't say difficult, it's more awkward when I'm playing something like Super Mario Odyssey to use like the camera and do stuff, whereas on the Pro Controller it's not nearly as awkward. I think it's just the placement of... Yeah, it's
the placement, the spacing, and the fact that you're also holding it.
Yeah.
It's definitely not as precise as, like you said, if you're just using a Pro Controller when it's in dock mode, right?
Yeah.
There's a little loss for control. It's not that the controls are bad, it's just I think the way you hold the system
exactly
affects your accuracy. But maybe in the harder levels I might have to play in dock mode with the Pro Controller. That's a pretty cool game. I'm only 2 chapters in, but I guess I'm around 4.
Do we know how many chapters there are on the whole game, or
I can't remember. I think
4, 6 something.
I think it's 8 or 12.
Oh wow.
Apparently it's like a 12-hour game plus or minus.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I think it was $26.99 Canadian. I think that's what it was.
That's a pretty good price then for...
Do you want to talk about one of the games you played? Because I have quite a few still to go through.
Tell me more about Monster Hunter World. Because I was going to play I shouldn't say I was going to play. I jumped in the last beta when you were, what was that? That would have been 2 weekends ago. I forgot to talk about it last weekend, or last week on the podcast.
Yeah, it would have been the weekend like that I had just left.
Yeah, and like I jumped in and I realized like it was the exact same beta from what I could tell as the previous one was.
They added a new hunter, a new enemy, or new monster.
Yeah, there was one extra like hunt, but it was like beyond my capability of being able to complete in 20 minutes. So I was a little disappointed in that. So I'd created a hunter. I did another hunt. Still, man, that time limit for me was just really... I'm super on the fence with this. This is a game that I want to buy. I really do. I'm like, I want so badly to like it. I see a ton of people jumping into it. I see a ton of people playing it. My brother is into, like, he jumped in it, which I don't know why. I was surprised. I saw him playing it on my PS4 and I was like, dude, how you liking it? And he's like, oh yeah, it's cool. You know, I'm playing it with some buddies. It's pretty grindy. You know, we were chatting about it a bit, and like the more that it's out, the more I'm beginning to think that maybe it's just not a game for me. And I'm like really worried about spending $80 on this stupid game, you know, because we live in Canada and games are outrageously expensive. and only to find out that it is just really not my game. You know,
I don't. If the beta didn't appeal to you,
well, like I said, the beta for me was like 80% there. It was like it did so many things right, and I really liked it. But there was like some really, really annoying, nagging things that I don't know if they would be like Zelda Breath of the Wild has a few little nagging things that like bug the shit out of me, but like overall I can move past it and enjoy the game. Mm-hmm. What I worry about with this is if those little nagging things are gonna hit a point where like they're actually gonna wreck my enjoyment of the game. And the other thing that I'm realizing is that this is like a game where, you know, you jump in, you could spend 3 hours or whatever it is doing some stuff, but like ultimately it's kind of one of those games that doesn't give a fuck about your time. Like you were going to have to kill 100 of those, you know, monsters of a specific type to get this enough of those things to craft that item that you're trying to craft, and so on and so forth. And like, I don't know if that grind for me, without the kind of time to put into it, I don't know if I can justify it is my concern. You know, like if I'm just going to go in and I'm going to play and it's just going to kind of hit a point where it's like, okay, well, I've sort of seen the loop here. It's cool. There's lots of things I like about this, but like, I cannot justify spending hundreds and hundreds of hours just so that I can get one more piece of gear. You know what I mean? Like in a way, it's like, it's almost like an MMO but not at the same time.
I can't speak to the grindiness of it or some of the late game systems because I'm obviously not that far.
Yeah, for sure.
It seems like it's a huge time commitment, which is the only complaint I have.
Right.
All I want to do, though, regardless of all the awesome games I have right now, is play Monster Hunter.
Well,
I've never been into any of them before. Obviously, the full game has you open up with a proper tutorial, introductions to all the systems. Not all the systems, some of the systems.
Some of the systems. More of the systems than they talk to you in the beta.
Quests and investigations and exploration mode and hunts and crafting and upgrading and buffs and research, investigation, like all there's literally like so many systems in this game. It's like it's a little overwhelming. Like I kind of feel like I'm driving a car that's just has no steering wheel and it's speeding down the highway, and I don't know, it's just out of control, and I kind of know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I'm doing. But I like it. I like the world. I like the attention to detail. I like all the nuance. It's very, like, depending on what weapons you choose, it's so different. The hunts in the proper game, you get like 50 minutes or like an hour.
There is I've heard that. Like I've heard that
I've completed,
it's a lot better.
I think I've done about 10 quests, and half of them were like hunts. So I think I've hunted 4 different big monsters now. I haven't had any issue with time. I actually haven't even died on any of them either. I'm using the sword and shield. I started with the big long katana, but I just did not like it. Too slow. I'm thinking about switching to dual blades. What I did the first thing I did the first night that I had it, after it let me get to a certain point, the first thing I did is you can go to the training area and you can try all the weapons out, and it has combos displayed on the screen.
Oh, that's cool. So then you can really get a feel for like all the different weapons.
You can get a feel
because they play super different. Like in the beta, I played I think 4 or 5 of the different weapons that I tried.
They are very, very, very different, and they have such different nuance, different utility. and you know, the higher skill ceiling weapons that are like really slow, well, if you get good with them, they're really devastating. Especially because you're basically fighting T-Rexes and larger, right? Like you're fighting these crazy vicious monsters. So having powerful weapons is a good thing. The sword and shield, they're kind of weak, but they're fast and they're good for blocking and dodging. So they're kind of good if you're used to, you know, like a God of War or some of those quicker action type 3D combo slasher games.
Right.
So it's like a good entry point if you've never played one of these games compared to some of the other weapons that are much more difficult.
Right.
I just find that they're just kind of, now that I've gotten used to them, I'm like, I want to try something different. And I've been hearing good things about dual blades, so
I tried the bow.
Yeah, I haven't done any ranged weapons,
which was interesting.
I tried them, but not out of training mode.
Okay, yeah, it was interesting, like because you got stamina, so of course you run out of stamina pulling the bow back. It was but it didn't seem to hit very hard. Was the problem? There's
stamina, there's ammo. Every enemy's weaknesses, affinities, where you hit them from, like how you hit them. You know, like I've managed to.
Oh, you're doing piercing damage with these arrows, but you need to be doing blunder damage. And
I've managed to mount some of the enemies that are monsters I'm fighting, and I'm like, I don't even know how I did that, but this is amazing. So I've been trying to like go up on cliffs and jump down on them, but it's like it doesn't seem to work every time. So I think they might have to be in a state of damage, but like it's one of those systems that they don't spell out for you, though they spell out so much for you with the tutorials they show you. So like if you've never played a Monster Hunter game, the whole thing is I'm not going to get...
Are you hunting monsters?
Yeah.
No.
The whole thing is you got your hub area with all the different crafting systems and meeting up for multiplayer stuff and so forth. And then you get quests. And most of the time the quests are hunt monsters or collect stuff or do this or do that. But yeah, they're pretty much just hunt monsters, right?
Right.
The monsters are like essentially in a big open world. Usually there's lots of monsters around the world. Kill random ones for different crafting materials for making weapons and armor and upgrades. Sometimes, most of the time, a lot of them won't even pay you mind unless you attack them. There's herbs and all kinds of ingredients and mining and stuff around the environment, spawns that you collect mats. And as you're going along, you'll see footprints. And as you discover more footprints, you have these scout flies which help you identify stuff, collectibles and stuff in the environment. And when you find like enough basically tracking signs or footprints or evidence of that monster's presence in an area, eventually you'll get to a point where your scout flies will be like, oh, okay, we've got enough here. We can track this monster down for you.
Okay.
And then they kind of draw like basically a beeline straight to the monster. And as you get better at tracking them, you'll end up, or you get more information from tracking their footprints and their other stuff that they do in the environment. Like you'll find like venom and stuff that they've like spat on stuff or walls or scrapings on like logs or the ground and whatnot. And you get more information about these monsters, and you become essentially you level up your. I don't think they call it tracking, but you get to a point where
it's essentially your tracking.
Yeah, you learn more and more about these monsters. So it's like, okay, now I know how to track them. They'll just show up on the map at a certain level.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool.
And then at a certain level, it's like, okay, now I know their weaknesses and so forth. So as you fight them more and or level up your, I forget what they call it. The information about certain monsters is just, you know how to deal with them more effectively and find them quicker in the environment. Because like some quests are just go kill 3 of these guys, or go kill this guy, or go, we need this item from this guy, or go find that guy. And well, you don't know how to find that guy if you've never seen that guy, that monster, unless you magically happen upon him in the environment.
Right. Kind of by accident or whatever.
Yeah, because, they have little set routines they're on. They're going around getting food. They're potentially going to a nest, and some of them have little areas that they like to hang out in more often, right? And
right, they kind of like this area because it's muddy, and they like to bathe in the mud.
They're in this area because he's flying in the tops of the trees. So it's kind of neat. Like, the systems are neat, and it's so layered and multifaceted, but at the same time, it's like, it's like, hey, I know what I'm doing, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm enjoying it, and I'm having fun, and like, I'm already like planning out an armor set I want to build from the smithy. So I got to kill certain types of guys to get this type of armor because it looks badass. I put my little cat in like a bone armor suit, and he looks freaking awesome.
Well, that was the other question. Like, so can you build like armor and stuff for your companion, like your cat
you build
as well?
Armor suit, weapons, and whole like suits of armor.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And
so not only do you
upgrade
have
them like yours. So I haven't played any multiplayer. He collects items, but I don't know how it works. Like, I've killed enemies, and it's like I didn't collect their stuff, thinking it would just sit there. But you got to go collect it, because if you don't, there's like scavenging birds that they'll eat the corpse, and then you won't get the loot.
Right, which would be super awkward.
Yeah, which is kind of annoying when you're fighting. You happen to stumble onto a den of like 10 little guys, and it's like, crap, I'm not done killing them all, but I got to pick up the loot from the ones I've already killed. So there's a couple times where I didn't realize that you got to get the loot before it goes away. At least that's what it felt like to me. I don't know if I imagined this.
Oh, I'm sure you're probably right.
I'm pretty sure I saw these like vulturish like birds. I can't even speak. Like picking at the corpses, and it's like, oh, I just killed 3 guys. Where's the shit they dropped? There's nothing here. But they all dropped something when I killed them. I saw it.
Right.
I was busy fighting and just like figuring it was like any other loot game that the stuff would just be sitting there waiting for me.
No, man, you got to get down there and cut that off of there. Get that skin and get that other stuff.
I don't know. I think it's a cool game. I can see what people who like why this game is been so huge in the past or have its cult following. There's so many quality of life improvements from what I hear, but I wouldn't know because this is the first one I've played.
See, like I played, God, the last Monster Hunter game I played was I think the first one on, what was that, PS2? I want to say.
No idea.
And it just didn't really stick. Like, it was clunky, and I didn't like the way it there was lots of things at the time that just didn't. It was one of those things where I'd purchased it and it just kind of fell flat.
Yeah.
I tried.
I don't think this game is for everyone.
No, I definitely agree with that. It's like, because games are so expensive, there's this part of me that I really do want to check this out. I'm really interested in trying it. I want to give it a fair shake. But there's this whole other side of me that is like, oh, I don't want to spend that kind of money and then be disappointed and like play it for 6 hours and go, nope, not for me. That's an expensive mistake to make.
Yeah, I personally, knowing how you play games and how you are, I don't think this is a full price game for you. On sale, I think you'd be happy with it, but paying full pop, I would probably tell you to hold off, just knowing the kind of games you play and how you play them.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is at full pop, I totally lost my train of thought there. It's okay. I got it again. Haha. What I was going to say was, right now, because it's new and it's hot, I feel like there's also that, like, there's that pull. There's kind of that FOMO of like, oh man, I kind of don't want to miss out on this. Like, everybody's talking about it. It's kind of like the new hotness right now. So that kind of adds to it, right? So if I wait and I hold off in 6 months when this is actually on sale, is this something that I'm actually going to pick up? Just because at that point it's like, well, everybody's kind of done with this. Nobody's really playing this anymore. And is that then kind of a thing where I just go like, well, it's maybe something I missed and I move on and kind of forget about it.
I got to get into some multiplayer to see how that stuff works. I really got to get deeper. The only problem is time, man. Like, yeah, it's a time commitment. And, I already have my pre-existing Destiny 2 condition, which I've kind of been shaking a little bit. I'll get into. But, I keep thinking about it, and all I want to do is play it. But then I have so many other... Like, I came back from my trip, and I have, 4 games waiting here for me. It's like Monster Hunter, Dragonball, Shadow of the Colossus, which isn't even out yet. What else? Subnautica on PC. I feel like I'm missing something else. And it's just like, oh my God, I don't have time for all this stuff. But yeah, I'm playing on Xbox One X on graphics mode.
So it's pretty.
There's resolution and frame rate. But I don't know. I didn't try the other two. I haven't had a chance to play with them. I just think it looks really good in graphics mode. I have no idea what resolution it's at. It's definitely running above 30 frames per second. I don't think it's 60, but it's pretty freaking smooth.
Oh, that's good.
So I don't know if graphics mode is 1080p with all the effects turned on.
I'm not sure.
Hence why maybe it's got a little higher frame rate. Whereas frame rate mode might be less effects and high frame rate. I don't think it hits 60. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I've been waiting for the Digital Foundry video, but they haven't done one yet. So I imagine it's a pretty big beast to tackle.
I can imagine.
And from what I hear, you can do it all. You can play it all single player, just doing quests and the campaign, right? You don't have to do the multiplayer stuff if you don't want to. You got a house. You can put pets and stuff in your house. You got your little cat buddy who fights with you. There's tons and tons of gear and loot and crafting and systems upon systems upon systems.
Upon systems.
So,
systems.
If you're into that stuff, man, they'll be right up your alley. If you bounced off Monster Hunter World in the past, maybe because of graphics or technical stuff, this seems to be the best entry point for if you were interested and you just couldn't quite get into it. But it's grinding as time sink. It's not.
Yeah,
it's not.
No, I know.
It's definitely not for everyone.
No, and I get that. It's just it's one of those things where I really do want to give this a try. It's just I don't know. I'm not sure.
I remember what I had. I had Sea of Thieves beta too, but I didn't have a chance to play it.
I didn't even try to get into it.
Yeah,
I'm super curious what that game is, and I kind of do want to know.
I installed it
a bit about it,
and I installed it while I was on vacation because the beta started when I was on my way back.
Oh,
but
okay.
I never had a chance to play it because I was playing Monster Hunter.
Right. Fair enough.
We're going to say, do you want to talk about Metal Gear Survive? I didn't even install it. I saw the beta, I think, started before I left on vacation. And I was like, eh.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a game for me. It's... So, obviously the single player wasn't in the alpha or the beta or whatever they're calling it. So the mode that was in there was, I can't even remember what it was called specifically now. It was essentially a mode where, man, I don't even know how to describe that game. It's so weird. At least, okay, so the mode that was in the beta was like a horde mode, kind of.
Yeah.
Crossed with survival stuff.
Like what? It was getting resources or food?
Yeah, no, totally. All of that. all of that stuff that you just said. So you get dropped into this level. You've got...
Is it like a base or an open map? Or
It's like an open map. It's like a big open area. There's little huts and there's hills and there's dugouts and there's all kinds of like little things to go run around and explore, mixed with like these zombie things. I don't know what they call them. You could call them clickers or zombies or whatever. They look like zombie pretty much. I mean, I'll call them zombies. And yeah, like the whole thing is like you go in, you start the, like, in at least the map, like I said, the mode that was in the beta was like a gather mode. So you drop in the map and then you try to run around and grab as much stuff pretty much as you can. So you start off with, you've got your whatever weapon it is kind of that you chose to start off with. You get like a sidearm that's like a pistol, and then you've got kind of like your main, I had like almost like a spear type thing that I could use to like jab the zombies. And
jab in the face.
Yeah. And it controls like a Metal Gear Solid game, like the Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, okay. So it's,
yeah, it looks,
it's the same engine.
Oh yeah, it's definitely running on the Fox engine for sure. I think they've even said as much. And so like I dropped in and there's like this little hut with some surrounding like little buildings. So I run over to it and it's like I can collect like everything. Like there's tires laying there. So I pick those up and I get rubber. And there's like these metal cans that I smash with my stick and then they break, and then I pick up the iron left from them, and then there's these boxes, so I smash them, and then there's like nails and wood that I gather from them. And so like I'm just gathering as many resources as I can. And meanwhile, when you first launch, there's a timer that's counting down, and once that timer counts down to 0, then you've got it's almost like a drilling machine that starts up. And when it starts to drill, there's another timer that kicks in from the moment that it starts to drill to when the first wave of enemies is going to start attacking it. So the first time I jumped in, I was like a ways away, didn't even like, I was kind of half paying attention to I was trying to figure the game out, right? Because of course it's a beta. They're not really giving you any tutorials. You're just sort of dropped in and like hoping for the best. So I was off in gathering crap. Hadn't really seen too many zombies. Gathering away, and then I saw that this timer was going down and it was telling me that I needed to run to this location. So I started running over there. And then the zombies destroyed the thing and I got kicked back out. And then I started it all over again. But of course, the stuff that I had at least gathered in my last round allowed me to, it essentially went to like my store, which I could then use. So there's like a hub world, and you can kind of use the hub world to build stuff, you can build ammo, you can make bullets. That's the other thing. You have to make your own bullets. So they're very scarce and hard to come by, so you really don't want to use those very often. But you can use them to build like barricades and stuff as well, so that you can try and set those up so that you can try and keep the zombies away from your drilling machine for as long as possible. So you can kind of preset stuff up in your little hub area before you launch back into the world. From what I can tell in the beta, the level was the same because I got dropped into the same place every single time during the beta. But yeah, I don't know.
How many people are you playing with?
In this particular case, I was playing by myself. I wasn't playing with like a group because I was just trying to get the feel for like what the hell to do before.
Is it like a timer you're building up to protect against a wave? Like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a little bit like a horde mode. So you start off the level and there's like, I think it's like a 5-minute timer. So you have like 5 minutes to like get in, gather as much crap as you can, get yourself over to the drilling machine and try and build barricades and stuff up around it. So that when it starts to drill, you can, because like that's the other thing is like there'll be a small timer. I think it's like a minute or a minute and a half of when it starts drilling to when like it hits a like essentially till that wave is over. And when that wave is over, it like shoots out this big wave that kills any zombies close by. And then there's another countdown that starts as soon as that wave is over till the second wave starts. So it kind of gives you it's not very long. I think it's like a minute, maybe 2 minutes where you can run around and try and put more barricades up, build some stuff, try to gather as much other crap as you can, stuff like that before the second wave starts. And then of course the second wave starts and it's got more hardcore enemies in it. In my case, like it had these big like dudes that were more or less like giant bombs. So they would like get close and then you'd try to like stab them or whatever. And then they would explode and damage you and everybody like around you. Which was actually really annoying to try and fight against with using the limited resources that I had. And that's kind of what that mode seemed to be about. It was like, get in, try and gather as much stuff as you can, make your way to the drilling machine, try and set up your barricades and stuff like that, then try and fend off as many waves of enemies as you can. And the crazy thing is that there's this weird risk reward thing going on where the more stuff you build during like before you kind of start the level or even during the level, because there's actually like a building area that like, there's different benches and stuff in the game that you can go to build stuff. So like you can use one bench to build, just whatever it is that you're building. So one bench you can build ammo and things like that. Another bench you can build like barricades, and another bench you can build machine gun turrets, stuff like that. But the thing is that the more resources you use to build this stuff, the more you're using up and you're not going to get, right? So it's like, because the more resources that you get allows you to build better things to help fend off the enemies. Like after I had done 3 or 4 tries at this, I had sort of built up enough of, we'll call it currency because it's just enough items gathered to be able to build, like I managed to build a couple like machine gun turrets that I could like, they weren't like autonomous, but I could stand there and like they had a limited amount of bullets, but it still was able, like it was a handheld machine gun. So I had managed to build enough bullets and gather enough iron and enough like springs and whatever else was required to build the machine gun turret so that I could use it. But then of course, as soon as I used it, they're gone. Right? Like in the game, like once you've used it, that's kind of it. They're done. They're gone. So it's like this real risk reward. Like you want to obviously try and do as many waves of these as you can without using stuff if you can help it, so that you can get enough stuff to like really get further in. So I don't know. It was kind of a weird, like I said, it kind of felt like this cross between like a super like survival game where like there was even different types of injuries that you'll take in the game. So like if you fall, you'll take fall damage, but then and you could like break something and you'll have to do a different thing to heal that than like scraping yourself. So like if a zombie attacks you and they scratch you or they like rip something open, then that will be like you'll take different damage and you'll have to use a different item to actually like wrap that one up versus like using a splint because you broke something. And like it's weird. Like and like I said, I'm not really sure if it's for me. I don't think it's like necessarily. It's a beta, but you clearly totally. You just didn't. The fun wasn't there. No, like obvious. No, and I wasn't sure if like I said, like all I was seeing was one game mode. And I know that obviously there's a story mode. There's other game modes as well, like they've already said. From what I've seen and heard about it, I have no interest.
it has it's only Metal Gear in the title, but has nothing to do with Metal Gear.
Pretty much.
I personally, I don't think I'm even gonna bother. Like, I saw the beta before I left. I'm like, I'm gonna just do something else.
Yeah, I don't know. I was super curious about it just because I was wondering like what that was gonna look like, and I'm just at a like I don't know. After the beta, I was kind of like, I think this is just not for me. Like, I think if you were into like some of the survival games where you got to go in and you know,
like Rust,
you're big
Ark
into those.
and
Yeah, exactly. If you were like super into those types of games, this might scratch.
Try it out of curiosity because it's a new one of those.
Kind of, and it does enough things differently that I think it might be something interesting. But I think for just myself and the type of gamer that I am and the type of games that I play, I don't think it's for me. So
cool.
If they do another beta, I might take a second look at it just out of curiosity to see.
It comes out in a couple weeks, so.
But yeah, I
know it's February.
I don't think it's going to be one that I'll be picking up. So
I see that you played some of the Assassin's Creed expansion.
Man, the game's so fucking good.
I know. I heard you beat it while I was gone.
I did.
So
that was so bittersweet.
So then it
was so bittersweet.
I don't have the expansion on Xbox One because like I said, I rebought the game, but I didn't get the Seasons Pass. But you're playing on PS4, and we were gifted those from Ubisoft, and that included the Seasons Pass. So you get all the goodies like the higher level cap and so forth. So
it increases the level cap from 40 to 45. It also unlocks like a new area. There's called Sinai. In that area, there's 3 distinct zones. So like if for anybody who hasn't played Assassin's Creed Origins, the map is sort of broken up into these like zones, and each zone is kind of like the level for this zone, and then there's a level for this zone. They have since also released an update that changes it so that there's dynamic leveling. So like as you go through the game, the enemies kind of stay at your level, so that if you're level 40 and you go to an area where the enemies are only like level 10, you don't just completely wreck shop and look like Superman. There's still a little bit of a challenge there. But you can turn that on or off depending on what you want to do. So it unlocks the Sinai area, which you like get like this when you unlock the expansion. There's like a little bit of a story stuff that goes down, and you jump on a ferry to this like other area, and I think it's like Crocodilopolis or whatever.
Yeah, where the arena, where the gladiator arena is.
Yeah, and so you jump on a ferry there, and you head over to it, and you sort of start the expansion stuff, and it's all like level 40 and above. There's a few things that are like level 38, 39-ish, but for all intents and purposes, it's level 40 and higher. And it's like it takes place a few years after the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 4 years after the events at the end of Assassin's Creed Origins. You're still playing as Bayek, and you're kind of carrying on with the beginnings of the Assassin's Creed, really. And some stuff's gone down, and you head over to there, and it's more story, it's more content. So far it hasn't been like anything that's like, wow, they added this crazy thing and it changes everything.
There's no new like mechanics or anything really. It's
no, not
level
really.
Cap, more story content in new areas. So
totally. But ultimately more Assassin's Creed, which is fucking rad. So I'm not gonna lie, I jumped in that. I started doing the story stuff in the hidden ones, and then I totally ended up going back to the main chunk of the game. And I got so sidetracked playing, like, I went and killed all the phylactes, and then I went and killed all the elephants.
That's all the stuff you should have done before the expansion. I don't know if I'm going to pick up the expansion, because I think I've had my fill. maybe if it goes on sale, I might.
I'm over 70 hours in that game, and every time I want to go play games, like on the weekend, I was like, oh man, I need to play more Nier, and I was like, because I'm still super curious about what's going on.
God, that just happened on the weekend.
I did. I fought Sobek.
Yeah,
and I beat him.
One.
Yeah. Like you said, long. Not overly difficult, but long.
It's just a ranged battle. Kill the random spawns, dodge his AoEs, and just tough
hack away at him.
Yeah.
So I got like an item. I don't remember. It's like a bow or
I think it's a staff,
piece of armor or a staff, or I don't know. I got something like that from him.
I think there's 3 of them, and I think you get a weapon from each one of them, and then I think you get something else from the community event or goal, because that is like one of the community challenges is take him down so many times.
Right.
And then that unlocks some extra bonus thing. But I think there's 3 of them, and after you beat the 3rd one, I think after you beat all 3 of them, then you get like an armor set.
Yeah, because there's the armor of Anubis is like,
I gotta check.
Is the whole thing.
I don't know when the next one goes live, if it's this week or next week, but I just log in every once in a while. I did that on the weekend too, really quickly.
Yeah. So then I fought in the arena, and I finished the one arena, and then I went and I started the fighting in the other arena. Man, that game is just so good.
It's a dope game.
There's like a wave based mode in the second arena.
Oh, gladiator mode.
Where like there's just you just go in there, and it actually has all the weapons and stuff that you would normally have. And it's just the different waves just keep coming. Like they start at like, I think it's whatever level they start at. I think it's like level 34 or something like that. And then every wave after that, they start leveling up higher and higher. And so then they hit level 40, and then they hit 41 and 42. And like when the level 46 guys showed up, I think I was on wave 15 or 16 that's when I went down, but like it got pretty kind of hairy there.
Endless survival mode.
Yep, they just have wave after wave, and they just don't stop, and it's just the whole idea is to see how many waves you can survive. Okay, it's pretty cool. No, you're not allowed to your bow, but you've got your sword and your shield. You're like whatever one you normally have, because normally when you fight the bosses in the gladiator arena, you have their weapons, like the weapons that they give you specifically for the arena. You don't get to use your own. And usually the different bosses, like the first boss, you have a sword and your shield, but then the second boss, you have like a heavy double-handed axe in the Crocodilopolis one. So I'm not sure. There's more bosses in the second arena. So, yeah, no. So I ended up sinking like a whole ton of time into that game on the weekend. It was a mix of the expansion, and I went back and just like continued just playing a shitload of the other stuff. Game is fucking good. It's so good. And I completely didn't even play Nier.
Oh yeah, you said you were.
I know.
Last week,
I did, and I have dropped 6 or 7 hours into it.
You played more than I have.
But I meant to play more of it this last weekend, and I totally all I did was play Assassin's Creed.
In my pile of shame. So, I got Shadow of the Colossus provided to me by Sony. That it's not out yet. It comes out next week.
Right. And can you talk about that yet?
Yeah. It was under embargo until Tuesday.
Okay, cool.
And all the reviews have hit now. So I think there's still some stuff they don't want you to like show because it's spoilery for the story, even though the game has been released on PS2, PS3, like every PlayStation minus the first, and already been sort of remastered or HD version.
Yeah, that's right. Because they did like an HD version of it.
Shadow of the Colossus and Eco on PS3. I have it. I never played it. I bought it, and it's sitting on my shelf. The most I've played of Shadow of the Colossus was on the original PS2. I think I probably did 8 of the Colossus, or 10, maybe. No. Yeah, I think I did 10 or 12 of the Colossi. I believe there's 16.
Oh, wow. Okay.
For those who are not aware, it is a third-person adventure game in some strange world where you're tasked to take down the Colossus, that are colossi, these giant beasts that are roaming this big open world area, and they all have different weaknesses and ways that you have to take them down. Anyway, this PS4 version is like a remaster. It is beautiful.
It's crazy how good that game looks.
It is freaking gorgeous. This is, you know how I've said Last of Us is like the benchmark for storytelling and character development in terms of video games that everyone should strive to live up to. This is the benchmark that remasters should live up to. This game, it was so great in its original iteration. Like, people fell in love with this game, the story, the music, the atmosphere. But with the visuals it has now, it's like, holy crap. It's breathtaking. I'm like, am I playing this on PS4? Like, this is unreal how good it looks. It has HDR and cinematic mode, and then it has like frame rate mode. So
right.
This one,
they also have a photo mode in that.
Yeah,
eh?
there's a built-in photo mode with filters
man.
and tons of features. I haven't really played with it because I'm playing the freaking game. But the cinematic mode just looks so spectacular. I assume it's like I think it's a 4K 30 or maybe upscaled 4K 30, 30 frames per second if you don't know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And then the frame rate mode it definitely feels like it's 60 FPS. But visually, they are so different. It looks good in frame rate mode, but it looks like a video game.
Right.
Like solid textures, like video gamey. I don't know how to describe it. It's super silky smooth. It looks awesome. But the cinematic mode with all the effects and the lighting and extra stuff just looks like an amazing, like, it looks like a different world. And it doesn't look like a video game. The extra details, so awesome. I'm a frame rate whore. Like, you hear me talk about it all the time. I want 4K 60 or,
But you're playing that in the cinematic mode, aren't you?
And stuff on PC, I want 60 frames, or I look to buy the better version that runs faster. And it's like, I'm playing this game in cinematic because it just looks so unreal. It's beautiful.
Wow.
So, yeah, you're thrown in this world, very little gist given to you as to what, well, you're trying to, they don't tell you why, but you are this really beautiful opening cinematic with amazing music. Your character's traversing this world to this temple with, I assume his girlfriend or sister. I don't know. I've never beat the game, so I don't even know who the person is. But a female counterpart. And I think she's dead. I assume she's dead because he tells this god or being that he's talking to in like the opening cutscene that she had been sacrificed, and he wanted to bring her back. So I assume she's dead. Pretty much. Sounds pretty dead. Sounds pretty dead to me. And they're like, there may be a power. We notice you have this special sword, and you got to do this thing for us, and we can probably help you. Go destroy the Colossi. And then your sword basically kind of acts like a GPS beacon, and you hold it up in the sun, and it forms a beam that kind of points you in the direction where you need to go. And you might have to traverse a cliff and some, climbing jump puzzles. And then you'll find the Colossi just roaming the world doing their thing, right? But they are, I don't know, 16, 20 stories tall. And you're just a little...
Oh, yeah, they're so big.
And you're like a little tiny dinky human with a sword and a bow, and you have your horse. So part of the game is the puzzle of how finding the weakness of the enemy and just how to get to the weakness. Usually involves climbing them. You have stamina, and you can climb up the beasts like their legs. They'll have hair on their legs. And you can essentially climb up their body, and they'll try and kick you off, and then you have to hold on. And if you don't hold on, if you're too late gripping on, holding on tight, you'll get flung off of them, and then you have to start over again. And you have to work your way up their body. And
it's kind of like a puzzle to try and figure out how to get up to the spot that you need to hit, right?
They're like a moving stage with platforming and climbing to navigate your way to the weakness. And obviously, as you hit the weakness, the enemy freaks out. And if you're not successful, you get basically ejected off of it, the Colossi, and you have to start again. And if you are ejected, usually they have some attacks that can crush you pretty quickly. So you really want to try and not get thrown off, because, you're kind of like a little insect on the middle of their back and they can't really do anything, right?
Right.
And yeah, each Colossi is very different, and like a puzzle, multi-staged puzzle boss fight. And it is beautiful, and the music's amazing. The vistas and the scenery, everything. It's so picturesque and like epic. And taking these guys down is like such a cool feeling, but it's really sad too at the same time. I've never beaten the game, so like I don't know if what I'm doing is good or bad. Like it could turn all out to be I shouldn't be doing this, and this is super selfish, and I'm killing these beautiful beasts because I want my selfish needs of bringing this person back to life, right?
You've never played this game?
I played this game, but I've never beaten it.
Oh.
I've only played it about a little over halfway on PS2, and then for whatever reason, I just never got back into it. But like back in PS2 days, it's very framey. It was a lot more, a lot more janky, but people still...
It was incredible for what it was.
Yeah, people still loved it. It has a huge cult following, like their fan base.
That game is incredible, and I won't wreck the ending for you, but
okay, so you have beaten it.
Yeah,
if you haven't played this game or you really loved it, I would recommend picking this up. This game is, I'm playing on a PS4 Pro, so obviously I don't know what it's like on PS4, but it's amazing. It's such an awesome game, and like I'm getting feels with the beautiful soundtrack, and I've taken down 3 of them already. So like I played a bunch the other night, and it's kind of like this and Monster Hunter, and I'm like, God damn it! Like I thought I was gonna get a freaking break. I was looking at the release calendar, and I do kind of have a break because in February, I don't think there's anything I want in February, so I'll be able to catch up on some of this stuff. And then, of course, I play Dragonball as well. That game's dope. I'm glad I bought it.
That's another game that I'm kind of really want to buy, but I kind of don't want to buy.
If you don't have, I'm a fighting game guy, and I enjoy fighting games by myself.
I'm a huge I like fighting games, and I love Dragon Ball, so it's kind of
it's so cool. This is what Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite should have been. Like, what a clusterfuck that game is. I'm sorry. It's sound combat wise, but visually and art direction wise, I think that game looks like a steaming turd. This game is Dragon Ball FighterZ is I'm not even in Dragon Ball. If you're in Dragon Ball, this game must be like heaven on earth. Visually, this game is just
visually it is. Yeah,
it looks
like
better than
the game.
It looks better than the freaking anime.
Yeah, no Dragon Ball game has even come close to looking as good as this one does. No. That's for sure.
3-on-3 combo, air combo, counter, super move, air dashing, blocking, parrying. There's so many systems.
Kamehamehas.
There's so many systems in this game, but yet it's super accessible. Like, I'm not amazing at these types of fighting games. Like, I never really I loved the old Marvel games from just the comic book style and just the mayhem. But this game is easy to get into. It plays so good. It's 60 frames per second and just looks fucking awesome. Like, it looks so cool
Yeah.
on the TV. Like, the giant super moves and smashing guys through buildings and cliffs. These super...
It's just so crisp,
these,
too. Like, it's just...
these
it's
super
incredible.
exaggerated battles. Very vibrant and colorful. I'm really liking it. I started the story mode. The story mode's basically... I don't know if it's like an episode of the show or like a movie version, obviously, of the show. Surprise, your characters lost their memory and some weird shit's going on, and the story mode has like stages and kind of like a map where you have so many moves to get to like the end. I don't know if it's the main fight or the boss. I can't remember what they call it. But along the way, you can do battles which level up your guy. There's like buffs and stuff that you can load out for your characters. And the whole story mode, I'm unlocking the roster as I go along as well. And it all ties into the story.
Oh, that's cool.
So like you're only able to play Goku first. And then you unlock another guy and another guy and so forth. And if you fail any step of the story mode, you got to go back and do it from the start. It seems like there's only...
it's kind of annoying.
It only seems like there's 3, maybe 4 battles per map for each stage of the story mode. But you don't have to do all the battles. Like, so you can...
really?
Yeah, but you'd be missing out on experience and unlocks, right? I don't think any of those buffs apply, obviously, to multiplayer, but for the story mode stuff, it does. It's cool. It's a good game. I'm happy about it. I told you how I got these games, right?
Yeah, didn't you pick them up, pre-order them on Amazon for like a bunch?
No, I got them from EB. They had like before I went on holidays. They had a 1 day like promo, like where they were doubling credit for controllers. And I'm like,
oh, weird.
I don't need 4 PS2 controllers. I only need 2. I don't need 4 Xbox One controllers. I only need 2. I don't need 4 PS4 controllers. I only need 2. And it's like,
man, I think I've got 3 PS4 controllers.
Yeah,
and one of them, the battery is fucking shot now. So I use it as like my in emergency backup controller now.
So I had 4 PS4 controllers. 2 of them were the old ones, like the not updated version. The rubber stick was screwed on one of them, and the other one was, like you said, the battery like didn't last. We're squat.
Yeah,
I had an Xbox controller, which was the first gen that didn't have the headphone jack. And then I had some PS2 controllers. So like I had like 150 or 60 bucks in credit off of like 4 or 5 controllers.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. I don't need any of these because when's the last time I had 4 people over to play something on PS2? Like I haven't turned on my PS2 since the PS4 came out. So I just held on to 2 controllers because I figure maybe one day. Right?
What I actually need to find is PS3 controllers, man. I can't find them anymore because Sony doesn't sell new PS3 controllers.
Really?
Well, you can't buy them at Best Buy, you can't buy them at EB, you can't buy them anywhere anymore. Nobody sells them new. So you're only buying used ones, but like all my batteries on my PS3 controllers are shot.
I'm sure you can get them on eBay, but yeah, anyway, so I ended up that's why I got Monster Hunter and Dragonball, because I essentially got them for nothing.
Oh, that's sweet.
So yeah, this game's great if you're into fighting games, and if you're into
I've been super on the fence. I've been looking at that, and I've been looking at Street Fighter V Arcade Edition, because I feel like I've been in the mood for some good fighting games recently. They're both on my list of like, you should just do it. It's been forever.
Street Fighter's cool, but I essentially got that for free. It does suck that I don't have all the characters, but I don't play it enough to justify spending the money on unlocking all the characters.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still really
I heard that the game like plays really well though, and it's like it is a great
awesome version of Street Fighter.
Yeah.
But Dragon Ball is like an awesome version of Street Fighter on freaking heroin, crack cocaine, and fentanyl, and meth all at once.
Yeah, no. That might be the one I pick up. I'm super interested
Again,
in checking
being
that
a
out.
fighting game, it'll probably go on sale sooner than later. So I don't know if it's like one of those things you have to have right off the get-go. I just happened to, like, if I didn't get these, I probably wouldn't have gotten Dragon Fighter or Dragon Ball if I didn't have the crazy credit.
Yeah.
I really wanted it, but it was like, let's be honest, with Monster Hunter and Shadow of the Colossus and Destiny and everything else I'm playing, I'm probably not going to touch it for a couple weeks. So it's like, did I need to buy it on launch day? You know, by the time I actually get back to it, it's probably going to be on friggin' sale.
Could be.
I do have to say, Shadow of the Colossus and Monster Hunter, though, man, those are pretty dope.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty happy, man. My pile is just so overwhelming right now.
Now that Shadow of the Colossus is fully out, I'm sort of tempted to pick it up again.
I think it comes out, I believe it comes out on Tuesday, and it's 49 Canadian. So I think it's only 39. It's not like a full price game, obviously, considering it's a remaster. But man,
but there's like a little part of me that like, I remembered playing it originally, and I kind of want to like leave it in my brain as the way it was
I never
the first
beat
time.
It,
you know
so
what I mean?
This is my going back to my mega pile of shame on. That's one of those. It's one of those games that a lot of people hold really high.
Yeah. I can understand that.
Dane?
Yo.
I think with that, we should get in some news.
Yeah, buddy.
So I liked your guys' little divvy it up into consoles.
Yeah.
I know I used to do that, like, just in the outline, but like giving actual, like, like this is
letting people know.
Yeah, so.
Like, hey, this is this news.
So yeah, so cross-platform is essentially PC and everything else. They kind of, if it's on PC, it's probably on Xbox, so it's cross-platform. I don't think there's really many PC exclusives, so I didn't really make a PC section. And then we got Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox news. So off the top here today, Bungie laid out details for their roadmap going forward. What they were going to be doing in the next patches and actual release dates. Mm-hmm. So yeah, like this week, Iron Banner came out. They added armor, masterwork armor, raid improvements. They fixed the Prometheus lens. I don't know what this Flashpoint milestone fix was. I'm going to guess there was a bug with that.
This is good. I think for them to get out and try to talk to people about more, because that I think is the one thing that they've been not great about, is talking to their player base about, just what's going on. I'm in a weird spot with Destiny 2 right now, where like I've played all of I've obviously finished the story. I've done a lot of the other stuff. I've done a ton of the side stuff. The only thing I haven't done is like the raid, and some of the Nightfall missions and stuff.
Yeah, I've done everything but the raid. I hit level cap just the other.
I'm not level cap either. But like, I don't know. I'm at this spot where like, I'm like, okay, I should play some Destiny. Yeah. And then like, I'm like, oh, what am I going to do in Destiny? I'm going to do the same stuff that I've kind of
grind up
done.
A number.
Yeah, like it's just, I don't feel like I've kind of hit this weird wall with it where I'm like, I don't feel like there's any real reason for me to do it anymore. Like I'm not working towards, like I don't really care so much about the raid, and I'm like, I've done some of the strikes. Actually I've probably done all the strikes at this point. So it's weird. I don't feel like I'm making that number go up for any more specific reason. Like before, the number was going up because I wanted to finish the story and I wanted to make sure that I was good for some of the strikes and all that kind of stuff. And now it's like, I feel like I've kind of seen all that, done all that. And like, I'm just kind of doing the same stuff over and over again. And I don't know. It hasn't been enough to bring me back to like, jump in anymore. I don't know. I'm kind of in a weird spot with Destiny right now.
Yeah, I am too. I'm super addicted though still, so I am trying to dial it back. The only reason I'm playing this week is, which I don't think I'm going to be able to do it, I really want to get the Iron Banner armor set for the Hunter because it looks freaking awesome. They're like samurai themed armor sets. They look really freaking cool. And then let's be honest, Destiny 2 is basically just a glorified dress up game.
Yeah, and like
with real good shooting.
I don't really. Yeah, no, the shooting in that game. So it's
kind of cool.
Awesome.
They're fulfilling their message that they said they're going to be more open. There's a roadmap here for the next 3 months. Nothing in April, and then I guess the expansion's coming out in May because that's season 3. So I assume that would be a new expansion, which seems like a long time.
I'd heard a rumor initially that
that's like 6 months, whereas the other expansion was September, October, November, just at 4 months. So it's a little extra time in the oven. But yeah, the stuff that I really want isn't until May. Like the extra vault space would be super handy. Like the thing that's so annoying is all the stuff they're adding, for the most part, it's all stuff that was in the first Destiny, and that's why people are so fucking angry.
Because they're just slowly rebuilding Destiny 1 in Destiny 2?
Yeah, like all the improvements of Destiny 2, but bringing back all the good stuff that was Destiny 1, that like, why the hell did you take it out, you fucking idiot?
Well, yeah, why didn't you do that in the first place, like, right?
Increased vault space should just be there. Private matches should just be there. This is all stuff that was in the original game. So this is why they're pissing people off so much, because like, yeah, there's this big roadmap. None of the majority of the shit, none of it's new. It's all stuff we had before. That, like once the shine and the sheen of the new game wore off, everyone was like, wait a minute. This is missing. This is missing. This fucking sucks. This sucks. Yeah, you fix this. Yeah, you fix this. Yeah, you fix this. But you took away the 10 things we had that were perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I think we kind of even mentioned this back when like we started playing Destiny, is it felt a little bit like we're taking one step forward, but
2 steps back.
We're taking at least another step back. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely kind of a strange. I don't know. Like, and that was kind of one of the things that I remember saying kind of at the beginning. Like, I love this game. This is great, but there's some stuff that also makes me go like, what the hell? Like. And I feel like those what the hell moments are coming more recently. I think now that, like you said, that initial shine and shimmer is off. Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit like the first game, right? Like if you jumped into the first Destiny, that game was a hot mess initially. It was a great game, but it was a terrible game. And a large part of that had to do with the lack of content. And then, after a year, by the time The Taken King came out,
the content
and it dropped, there was tons of content.
The improvements were there.
Totally.
And then you're
like, could you imagine coming into Destiny, not having played from the very beginning, but if you showed up when The Taken King dropped, could you imagine like buying Destiny, not having played it yet? You sat down and there was Destiny, all of the different expansions, plus The Taken King.
Oh,
you would just be like, holy shit, this is maybe the greatest game I've ever played. This is incredible. And so I kind of feel like this is slowly happening the same thing again. Also, what I'm actually worried about, to be totally honest with you, with Destiny, I'm actually worried that they're going to release these little expansion packs. They're going to release 2 little ones. Well, because the first one was pretty small.
Yeah,
like let's be honest, like it
was not very good.
No, and then they're going to release another little one in May or whenever it is, April, May, whatever they actually announce it. And I'm worried that it's going to be another fairly little one.
It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be 1 or 2 new stages interstitched with original stages, but going backwards in the same fucking shit they've been doing from the get-go. And everyone's seen through their shit now and just getting sick and tired of it.
Right.
I don't know.
But what I'm worried about is that that's going to happen. So those are my 2 free expansions that I got with my Seasons Pass. There are my 2 expansions for the Seasons Pass.
Yeah, and then there's going to be
what are they going to do? They're going to drop a really good one in the fall for like, hey, Destiny 2's been out for a year. Here's our Destiny 2 Taking King equivalent, and it's going to be an awesome expansion. And of course, that's going to be, this is season 2 content or whatever they're actually going to call it. It's going to be like season 4 content or whatever. And of course, that's the content I'm going to have to pay for again in order to play it.
Yeah,
and that's kind of shitty.
And it's going to be all the same fucking shit. Yeah, it's good that they outlined it, but man, what a clusterfuck. And they're doing it's the exact same thing over again. New game, but all the exact same missteps, which is ridiculous. And I think that's where the community is just like, nah, we're done. Fuck you guys. We're out. Peace. Like, yeah. I'm sure, I don't know. It sucks. I love Destiny, but I hate Destiny. Worst best game ever still.
Yeah.
Last week, I think while I was gone, or maybe the week before, Epic was like, yeah, we're reevaluating Paragon. Well, they reevaluated Paragon to the trash.
Yeah.
After Fortnite's massive success, Epic is like, we're done. We're shutting her down. We couldn't come up with any solutions. The game clearly didn't have the player base they needed to keep it going. Why would you, when you have a game that's got 40 million plus players and you have this game that's struggling and taking resources and talent from something that's making money?
I think the MOBA space
is crowded. They didn't need it. Like,
I don't necessarily think it's crowded. I think that it's just there's enough games in that space that people want to play.
There's Netflix. There's Netflix.
People are moving on to other games, right?
There's Netflix. There's Netflix too, and then there's like Amazon Video. That's all you need. We don't need any more. That's it. You got Dota, League of Legends, who dominate that space. They've dominated it for years, if not close to a decade, maybe by now. And Heroes of the Storm and Smite kind of hang in and pick up, the crumbs off the table, and they're doing just fine. And you don't have enough room for anyone else.
Not really.
Especially a game.
I mean, you've got 4.
Especially a game that's not better than the already fledgling ones that are in the market. Like, I played Paragon, and I'm like, this game looks terrible. This game plays like crap. I don't like the combat. I found it really slow. I didn't feel the attacks had any weight to them or felt very good. I'm just like, wow. Yeah, that's good. I'm done. Now, I played League. I played Dota. I played Heroes. I haven't played Smite, but Paragon was just not good from what I played. Like, I'm very surprised that it took this long to shut it down. And the even more surprising thing is that they're shutting it down. They're giving everyone refunds. And in my opinion,
that's crazy.
The only reason they're doing that is because they're making bank off of Fortnite, clearly. Because if they weren't making money, if there was no Fortnite, Paragon would have been shut down by now. And nobody would be getting fucking jack shit, is my expectation. This is unprecedented. No one's ever done that, but no one's ever had some runaway massive success like they have.
I mean, that's
Fortnite.
Also a game that never came out of like beta or early access or whatever either. Right?
No, they were selling a disc at stores.
Paragon? They're selling an actual disc for Paragon
in stores.
Wow.
Like, I look at that. The art direction is ugly. The characters are ugly. Like, man, I could have told these guys from the get-go, I'm like, just trash it. Like, just shelf it. Like, save yourselves the hassle, but it sucks, I guess.
Yeah, it was unfortunate because there was that first video that they released and it looked super interesting. And then it
like the super Unreal Engine
but it was
4
totally
renders
CG
look
and
fucking amazing for every game.
Sure.
Like, I'm not surprised.
Well, that's the other thing is I'm sure they're rolling in the Unreal Engine.
I don't like
these
to
days.
see games fail. I don't mean to talk shit about it, but it's like I could tell you that you didn't need to do it. Just like Gigantic, it looked cool, but guess what? The space has got... There's only so many players and so much time for these types of games that, like, you have to do something so good to pull them away from these other games to create your player base. And guess what? The hooks are so deep in these people with these other games that they might come over and check it out for a bit, but you really got to do some amazing stuff for them to stay. And that's such a hard ask in this.
Well, I mean, I think
space.
that even Heroes of the Storm is having a hard time.
And again, Heroes of the Storm is probably just doing fine because it's Blizzard and Activision. But if it was anyone else, it probably would have been shut down by now. I don't know what kind of numbers. I don't know anything about Heroes of the Storm. They keep adding new characters. They keep having tons of events.
Yeah,
clearly,
they're definitely supporting the game and stuff. But from what I understand, it's definitely not. It's having a bit of a difficult run on it. So
yeah, and what's the definition?
My point was I think part of the situation right now though is I think that like games go through fads just like anything, right?
Yeah. Like right now,
5 years ago, MOBAs were the thing. Yeah. Everybody wanted to get in on that League of Legends money.
And how many MOBAs flopped and failed? A lot. A lot of companies aren't around. Not a lot, but there's a handful of companies that
I can think of at least five off the top of my head, pretty much.
That don't exist anymore because they made MOBAs. Sony had Killstrain. You had that DC MOBA. What's another one? EA had a couple MOBAs. There was a Lord of the Rings MOBA. Jesus, is there any other ones?
Yeah, well, there was the EA one that they shut down, Battle Right or whatever it was called. There's another one that, God, we went to like a huge. They were all over PAX there like a few years ago. Like they had the restaurant. They'd done all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I don't even remember the name of that one. Yeah, that one came and went. I know
it's still technically around, but from what I understand, like nobody's playing.
Isn't that the one EA bought that one?
Maybe.
Why can't we remember the name? God damn it! Because it didn't matter. While I punch my mic, sorry everyone. Yeah, there's even more. There's even more. There's the Gigantic is one. They're done. They're getting
they're shutting that down now. Yeah,
and obviously now,
which is sad because I absolutely love the art style for Gigantic, but that was just a game that I just But no, I think that MOBAs are the people that are continuing to play MOBAs are going to continue to do so, and the existing games are definitely going to continue to be good games, and people are going to continue to play them.
Like that was just like 4 or 5 examples. I want to say there's at least double that from smaller, lesser known studios versions of that we never even played. I know there was a lot more because, like you said, it was the big fad. So you're looking at like 10 companies where people were trying to get in on this gold rush, and well, I'm pretty sure none of them are around anymore.
Yeah,
it's kind of like so now the next one's going to be this battle royale nonsense.
Oh yeah, we're already seeing it.
Fortnite magically cranked out a battle royale mode overnight, maybe because PUBG like runs on their engine and they might have some special insight as to how PUBG works, and they were able to turn around a game so quickly because there hasn't been really another one yet, but this year there's going to be a couple more. We've already,
what was it, Paragon? They've already announced Paragon Battlegrounds. It's getting a Battlegrounds mode in Paladins. Paladins. Yeah. We know that's coming, I think in April or something like that. So
who has modes in their games that we don't know about yet? Like
totally. Yeah, no, it's interesting.
So when something sells, when PUBG and Fortnite have 40+ million copies of a game with loot box mechanics making you money, that definitely, the sharks smell the blood in the water.
Yeah, well, people want in on it, right? Yeah. It's the next hot thing.
So it sucks for anyone who liked Paragon. I don't know. I'm pretty sure when I played Paragon and talked about it in the podcast a year or two ago, I was like, yeah, this game's not going to last. Pretty sure I said that. Monster Hunter World, 5 million copies shipped in 3 days. That isn't sell-through, but apparently I think there's been some update that it is almost all the way sold through. It's done gangbusters. It is the highest selling Monster Hunter franchise worldwide for Capcom, and I think it might be one of their fastest selling games to date as well.
I was reading a thing earlier today that said that this has outsold the last Monster Hunter that did really, really well. That was out on 3DS in Japan. and that this has gone on already to pass that. So it's definitely the fastest selling Monster Hunter game.
Yeah.
In Japan, they haven't really said anything about the other regions yet, but yeah,
That's cool. I'm one of those 5 million suckers. There's been some rumors floating around the internet about Microsoft looking to do some big buyouts, some nonsense spat out there by the internet, not necessarily like Polygon released a story a couple days ago talking about how Xbox is in a really tough position and that they literally have no quality first party titles in the immediate future that like anyone really cares about. That their first party library is seriously and dangerously just lacking. Hence why they haven't been able to build the momentum to catch up to PlayStation.
Right.
So, the writer of that article went on to like imagine like what they should do. Like, let's pretend that they acquire EA or Valve. And then of course other sites just went on, they're going to acquire EA and Valve. And these rumors kind of spun out of control because people took information out of the story out of context. There are definite rumors out there that people have confirmed that EA is shopping. But
yeah, I can understand them shopping for studios. I have a hard time believing that they would buy a giant publisher like EA.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Like EA for them doesn't make any sense, especially because at least almost half, or at least around 40% of EA's business is Xbox One, and the other 60% is PlayStation.
And it's all licensed.
So why on earth?
Licensed stuff that's cross-platform where license deals can end or change.
Yeah, and so why on earth? I'm sure that the people that have those licenses, like Disney, for example, if Microsoft was to buy EA for the exclusives,
they're not going to let them make them Xbox only.
Exactly.
NFL,
they're going to be pretty unhappy about it.
And FIFA are going to be like, no, you're not selling 10 million copies of our game. You're selling 50 on PlayStation. And that's the way it's going to be, right? Sorry, I didn't realize I was so far away from my microphone. I was a little quiet there.
So no, I had that rumor.
I don't think they need to buy studios. They just need to buy some fucking exclusives. Who? I have no idea, because Sony is just doing such a good job lopping everything up. Like, Sony has Japan on lockdown, so we know how Microsoft has played with Japan, barely, and not very good.
You got to understand, though, that Sony's been working really hard with its studios to build first-party lineups as well.
Crazy, whereas Microsoft is like, oh, we don't need first-party. And to be honest,
they've essentially been shutting down their first-party studios.
And they didn't need it, because at the end of PS3, Sony had all the exclusives. Microsoft had very few. Like, they had Gears and Halo, and and the Forza stuff, and
Forza,
maybe a couple others. But they had enough first-party stuff you can count on one hand that anyone cared about. Sony had all kinds of amazing, unique franchises. Call me fanboy, whatever. But they probably had double the amount of first-party exclusives. But Microsoft had such momentum in the Xbox 360, PS3 generation that they're like, well, exclusive? We don't need exclusives. We just need the Call of Duty and all the third-party shit. And we're killing Sony. And that's what was happening. So they gambled on like, oh, we don't need first-party stuff. And then they fucking dropped the ball so hard with the Xbox One launch. And that bit them in the ass big time. Not only did they fuck the launch, now they have no exclusive titles that makes anyone want their console.
Well, it also doesn't help that some of their exclusives that they tried to push just didn't do very well.
Like, and everyone, like, to be honest, a lot of people are tired of Halo and Gears. Like, the last few ones haven't hit like the old ones. Those gamers might not necessarily be playing games anymore, or they've moved on to PlayStation. They're in a really
so that's part of the challenge for them, I think, though, is that they got rid of, they had a few games that were supposed to be exclusives in the chamber, and then they either canceled them or they came out and kind of fell flat and they decided not to follow them up. now here they are, and the Xbox One X came out, and there's not really a big, there wasn't really any exclusives for them outside of Forza 7 to showcase that console.
And PUBG, but that's available on PC.
No, that's true.
They're in a really tough boat. They're not acquiring EA. They're not acquiring Valve.
But
Valve
that's what I was saying. I could see,
go away.
I could see them, in all honesty, I could definitely see them buying a couple studios that were halfway or 3/4 of the way through developing something. You buy the studio, you buy their IPs, and whatever they're working on currently, you release it as an exclusive. That's definitely a way for them to get those exclusives on lockdown and also get that talent for later.
Yeah,
but I just I have such a hard time with these studios. Well, not studios, sorry. These console manufacturers and publishers, they go and they buy these studios. They get them to release them a game. The game either does well or maybe it doesn't. And then they, build us this other game. And then halfway through that, they're like, no, we're going to pivot and we're going to move to something else. We're going to shut this studio down now.
They had Scalebound, which they canned. They had a couple others. Crackdown's been a disaster, in its development. Sea of Thieves looks interesting, but it ain't going to sell consoles. State of Decay looks all right. It's not going to sell consoles either, hence why all these games are part of Game Pass. But they're just in such a weird position. If Game Pass does, I could see Game Pass potentially change some of the momentum, because if all Halo 5 and the next Forza and everything else comes out on there, which they say
it will, because that's exactly what
which is what they say right now, and that does become the Netflix of gaming, that could get them some momentum and be well, I'm just gonna get an Xbox because I don't have to buy these $60-$70 games every month. I just get all the new games
for $10
$10 a month. Or I don't
probably
know,
15 in Canada, or if do they even offer it in Canada? I'm not sure yet.
This year. When Sea of Thieves comes out and Crackdown or whatever, the first of those exclusives comes out, I will start. I'm not going to buy the disc. I'm going to buy Game Pass, because it's $10 to try out this first party brand new day and date game. Why would I buy the disc? It would be stupid. I've heard stories of retailers in Australia. They're like, yeah, we're not carrying Xbox anymore because that just fucks us on retail. Not that those games, not to be honest, I don't think.
That's only, again, though, that's only first party games. That still isn't going to be their, unless their partners get on board with also releasing games on there as well, which
it's such a weird,
I can't imagine
such a weird thing.
Some of the other ones
I know retailers can't be happy. You've just killed your reason
for
to
people
buy
to come
any
into
Xbox games and come into your store.
Yeah.
Because the first party stuff's what's supposed to attract you. So I don't know. But it is such an amazing deal and such an amazing thing. I would love that. If Sony had that and Microsoft had that, I wouldn't buy retail discs anymore. I would just subscribe to this every month. Just give me every game. But I don't know if it's feasible, money wise.
And the other thing that you got to remember too is that over time, those games are going to come and go, and you don't own any of them. That's the one bummer.
Fine. They don't need down the road. They're worthless down the road anyway, even if you did own them. So
yeah, it's nice to be able to pop something in and play it whenever you want.
That's true, but we don't. Even if you have the retail disc, you don't own anything. They can shut down servers and do all that other BS. Yeah, they're in a weird spot. I think with this console leapfrogging, and there's really no more generations. PS5 is going to play all the PS4 stuff. PS6 is going to play all the PlayStation 4 stuff. The next Xbox is going to play all the old Xbox stuff. The Xbox One and the PS4 original versions are not necessarily going to keep moving forward. They're going to get dropped off like older PCs at some certain point. They don't have the new OS. But this gap is so big. I guess Game Pass is one of the moves to try and close it, but I think Sony's just going to be the dominant system going forward. Because when the PS6 comes out, everyone who's a PS4 they don't lose their old library, so you're just going to carry over. And not everyone's hardcore like me and you.
To be totally honest, though, like let's not get totally ahead of ourselves. Like Sony has not said that yet.
They have said that. Sony said that.
No, Microsoft has definitely
Sony has
said
it too.
Sony has. I do not remember Sony at any point 100% saying like from this point forward, you will be able to play everything on.
They've said it.
I know that Microsoft has said it, but Sony has definitely not.
Sony has said it. I know Sony said it.
So, I mean...
I know Sony said it.
That's by all means,
they're the same systems, except for one says Xbox and one says... It's the same architecture with little tweaks. They're almost identical.
They're very similar. Yep. They're x86.
So there's no reason why the Sony wouldn't... And they have said it, so I don't know. I don't know how you missed that. Anyway, moving along. There's been a bunch of financial stuff recently, obviously end of the month. I don't know if it's really the end of a quarter or just month end or business shit going on, but like EA had a bunch of stuff come out. Battlefront 2 shit the bed, no surprise. News people care about. Anthem's been delayed to 2019.
Not surprised.
Not too surprising after all the shit that's been going down with them. Respawn's Star Wars game. Rumor is March 2020. Obviously, nothing to say about that besides, you know, they had to throw a bone out there.
Maybe we'll learn more. Maybe we'll find out more at E3.
It's coming. But yeah, like EA's been just raked over the coals because of the Battlefront 2 stuff. They say the loot boxes are coming back, but who knows? They're totally reworking progression, they said. So we'll see. I have not touched that game since before the holidays. Not that
I mean, it sounds like it's still sold fairly well, but it's lagging behind the first game.
The first one and their expectations for the second one.
Pretty brutal. Yeah.
Man, that's so shitty for everyone who worked on that game. What a clusterfuck. I'd love to have been a fly on the wall to know whose fault that was.
I know. I agree.
There'll be a book. At some point. There has to be.
Yeah, probably.
It's such a monumental clusterfuck. Fire Emblem Heroes turns 1. They have a major anniversary event coming out. New characters. The big thing that they showed, and I didn't watch the video because they have like these like streams that they do, but they have like a dungeon mode coming.
Really?
Yeah, called Tap Battle. So it's basically like I guess a clicker almost with your characters navigating through a dungeon and going through floors and battles.
Interesting.
Yeah, I gotta watch the video, but it's like, okay, that's like a different game.
I like clickers.
It's like a different game.
I might like clickers more than... Yeah.
They have a new hero event coming, so happy anniversary. I'm still playing that game. I have not put a cent into that game. I think I have 20 plus or minus 5-star characters. That game knows how to do summoning and not stick stuff in your butt and make you feel hurt like other games that will not be mentioned, that you all know what game I'm shit talking.
Yeah, for anybody who listens to the podcast.
Rhymes with, I don't know.
Transformers.
Yeah.
There's going to be some changes happening with that one too,
Yeah.
but anyways.
Moving on to Nintendo news. Nintendo announced, I guess, in their business meetings that Switch Online is coming in September. It was supposed to come out now or
last
by now.
year.
$3.99 a month, $7.99 3 months, or $19 a year, which I think they already said it was like $20 a year originally. It'll offer a compilation of classic titles each month, such as titles Super Mario 3, Balloon Fight, Dr. Mario. Unlike PlayStation Plus or Xbox Live Gold, which lets you keep game as long as you keep playing, the Switch game will be free only for the month in question. Once the next month rolls around, new games will be featured. Nintendo will be adding online features to these 8 and 16-bit games, leaderboards, multiplayer where applicable. So that's why there's no virtual console. They're just that's the value for their online service. And the sad thing is you don't get the games, which sucks, because that would be cool. As a subscriber, you just build up a classic library of all those games.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Another one of the other big things that came out was Mario Kart Tour is coming to smartphones.
I want a controller for Mario Kart, not my shitty touch screen.
Yeah, releasing fiscal year ending March 2019. So who knows? As a mobile application isn't releasing any more information this time. That's pretty interesting. Who knows? Yeah, Mario Kart on mobile. I don't even know what they could.
I'll hold off judgment until I learn more, but
I don't know. Like, some cell phones are as powerful as a Switch, so they could essentially do like a proper Mario Kart, but you just don't have a controller.
That's the big thing. Like, I'm down.
They could do a good Mario Kart. It's just the control scheme is the issue,
right? So, I mean, I guess if they were to drop in, like, controller support, and I was to pick up like a Bluetooth controller, then maybe that'd be great. But then what's the point? Like, now I'm gonna pack my controller around with me when I want to
just play Mario Kart 8 on Switch.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, then I could just take my Switch with me. Like, I don't know.
It'll be interesting to see.
It'll
probably be a year from now. PlayStation news. PlayStation Plus games for February were announced. What do we have here? Oh, Knack. That's right. Knack, launch title for the PS4. People have made fun of for years, being like, when's Knack coming to PlayStation Plus? Seems like a PlayStation Plus game. Here we are, like, 4 years later?
I'm honestly really surprised that it took them this long to drop Knack. Like, even the second one, I figured this would have been a PlayStation Plus game at the very least just before the second one was going to come out.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have thought so too.
Or something like that.
Yeah, it seems like long overdue. It was all right. It's a family-friendly platformer. It's you got kids, it's perfect, but it's not, I don't know, it's not a serious platformer for grown-ass men, that play video games.
It's surprisingly difficult for what it is.
Rhyme is also coming, which actually looks pretty cool.
Yeah, that does look neat.
Single-player puzzle adventure. And then Spelunker HD on PS3, Mugen Souls Z on PS3, Exiles and PlayStation Vita, Grand Kingdom PlayStation Vita, also available on PS4. And then they still have, I guess, Starblood Arena VR as well till February 13th.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I definitely made sure to get that, so I'm very excited to check that out in VR. Have you played it yet in VR?
No. I'm just like, those are your PlayStation Plus games. They got a couple new colors coming for DualShocks, Midnight Blue and Steel Black.
Yay. They look pretty good. The Steel Black,
I really like. Does look cool. Not as cool as the cleared translucent ones, which I like. They always had.
Really? I think
love those.
I personally think they look better, but
Xbox news, they announced their games for gold for February. You've got, when this link
lay it on me,
Shadow Warrior for Xbox One.
Okay.
Assassin's Creed Chronicles India, also for Xbox One. And then for Back Compat, available on 360 and Back Compat on Xbox One, you've got Split Second and Crazy Taxi. I do not care about any of those games. I might check out Crazy Taxi just for, nostalgia's sake, but
yeah.
I don't know. It's games for gold and PlayStation Plus have really been lacking the last few months or years. They had much stronger titles earlier. I guess they're just struggling to find stuff.
I think you also have to remember that when this whole thing started, Sony was the only one doing it, right? Like, they're the one that kicked it off.
And it was to soften the blow of why you were playing for multiplayer, because they had multiplayer for free for years.
Yeah, and well, no, because even you were getting free games even in the PS3 era, right?
Yeah.
So you weren't even you were getting free multiplayer on the PS3.
Oh, that's true.
But that was their way of trying to gain ground and get people to,
on Xbox,
feel better about paying for the service on PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, because everyone's like, PlayStation Online sucks. It's terrible.
Yeah,
that was like a
so
big
they
thing,
were
right?
giving, so they started giving away free games, and everybody's like,
Oh,
shit, yeah.
This is dope, man. I can put up with some shitty multiplayer for free games.
Yeah. And then Microsoft, like, so at the beginning, Sony was the only one doing it.
Yeah.
And I think that was a lot easier because they were able to pull from their library. They were able to talk to their partners and maybe able to get their partners to get in on it. Whereas like now they're obviously doing it as well as Microsoft is trying to do it. So now you have both guys trying to pull games.
Yeah, they're essentially
talking
to the same people and trying to beat each other.
Yeah. And I think that's part of what's been a bit challenging now.
Yeah. And also they don't recycle games, so and the stuff
Not
doesn't
usually.
and the stuff doesn't
there's
carry
been
over.
a couple.
Like if you weren't here when Rocket League was out on PlayStation Plus back in the day, you don't get it now as a PlayStation Plus member. You had to be there when it was on the system.
Yeah, and if you added it to your
have it
system,
the
then now you have it.
You have it for the entirety of being a member. And you don't lose it when your membership lapses. You just don't have access until you renew.
Exactly.
So, anyway. They're good value adds. There's some good stuff every once in a while, but just like I was saying, I just feel like they're lagging. And I feel like, I don't know.
I'm glad the VR stuff has been being added.
Yeah, the VR stuff.
I'm happy
the VR
about.
stuff's been great.
That's been worth it for sure.
Nothing in public service announcements. Free for all. There was a new trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp, which looks freaking cool.
I haven't actually had a chance to watch that one yet.
You should watch it. It's linked there.
I've been hearing really good
It looks
things.
awesome. And Evangeline Lilly. I mean, she's really cool as the Wasp. I forgot that I really liked Ant-Man, and I'm like, yeah, I want to see another one of those.
Great, man.
That
movie was great.
I think Black Panther comes out in a couple of weeks. Oh man, that
looks amazing.
Dope. It's
been getting incredible.
Yeah, the early chatter's been really positive.
Yeah,
I'll have to go watch that opening weekend. I'll have to look at when that comes out. So before I went on holidays, my wife, her laptop's kind of been really crappy.
Yeah,
but it's really old. It's like 2008 MacBook.
Right.
So it's a little long in the tooth now. It's done its duty. And I had a 2013 or 2014 MacBook Air, which is i7 dual core. It still flies. Like, it's super snappy. It's an awesome little laptop. SSD, 8 gigs of RAM. It's a great laptop. But my wife says a piece of crap. So I kind of convinced her in that, like, I'll get a new laptop and
you can have my old one.
have my old one. You know, win-win. I don't have to spend it's still my money, but it's not my personal Rico fund money. It comes out of the family budget, and I get an upgrade. She gets a new laptop. Everyone's happy, right? So I was shopping around at the Ultra. Like, I had a MacBook Air. I don't want a gaming 17-inch, 50-pound gaming laptop. Like, that's fucking dumb. I have a super powerful gaming desktop. I don't need a powerful gaming laptop. It's just dumb. Laptops report.
You also didn't want to spend $4,000 on a super thin, super light, super sexy gaming laptop either.
A laptop is for portability and functionality, right? I want light. I want some nice features. And man, the Ultrabooks, like the Razer Blade Stealth, a lot of the 360 laptops they have out there from Dell and Asus and stuff, they're really slick machines. They're like they're tiny like MacBook Airs. They have 1080p high resolution screens, or even 4K if you want to destroy your battery. Touch screen, Windows 10, 8th generation i7 quad cores in mobile. Like, what? Seriously?
With hyper-threading for a total of 8 threads, man.
Which is awesome. So I'm like, sweet. So I'm looking at all these laptops, and like, I was split on a Razer Blade Stealth, and then it's like, well, it's more expensive, and it's not a convertible. And then I started looking at convertibles, and there happened to be a sale on the HP X360 Specter. And I'm like,
it's a nice machine.
I'm like, sweet. I'm like, it looks awesome. I went and saw it in Best Buy. I'm like, this is a nice looking laptop. So I ordered it. It was on sale. 3 weeks goes by. I get it after our holiday. Like, I literally got it like 2-3 days ago.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I didn't have it on my trip, which I was pissed off because that would have been like the perfect test drive. The nice thing is that HP has 30 days free return policy, whatever, right? So if you don't like it, you just return it. That was another crux of why I bought it. You know, what I really want? Well, I want the Asus ROG Styrix 501, which has got a 1080 in it, and it's, like you said, one of those slim. It's not an ultra light, but it's not an ultra heavy fucking laptop. It's like, I think it's 3 pounds with a 1080 in it. That's pretty dope.
Yep.
Anyway,
Razer makes one like that as well.
Yeah, they do. Theirs were, I think, even more expensive. But
of course.
That's $3,500. It was on sale for $3,000, but that's too much money for a laptop. That's just kind of dumb. Considering that it's not upgradable, it's, you know, that is going to last quite a while though with the 1080 in there. Like, let's be honest. But anyway, it's a waste. So I got this laptop. I'm like, cool. It arrived. I'm like, oh, this thing looks awesome. And then I started noticing the annoyances. The hinges were like crooked. Like the hinges were like off. And I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't look good. Like, is this thing going to break on me over time? Like going convertible. And when you do go convertible, it doesn't, it's like offset. It's got like these weird angles. So it doesn't fold right over like a book and the covers are like parallel. They're off a bit. So like it overhangs, you know what I mean? When you're holding it in your hand, the edges overhang. It's got like a diagonal edge on the one side and then like an overhang on the other side where it folds over. And I'm like, it just didn't feel good in my hands. And like, but it's still, it looks like a cool laptop. It's like a neat screen, but then it has like a massive bezel on the bottom. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I just playing with it and the hinge being OCD and anal like I am, the hinge being crooked on both sides is like, this just doesn't sit well with me. Like, for the amount of money, the QA is just not here. Like, these hinges should be straight. All the pictures on the website show the hinges being straight. And it just didn't feel right when it was in convertible mode. Like, it was cool, like, with the pen and, like, you could just write on it like a Wacom tablet, like, flat.
I guess my real question is how often are you going to have it in convertible mode, realistically?
I'm going to have it in a lot.
But then again, knowing you, unless it's perfect, you're going to have to, you know, you better send it back and get a different one.
Well, I went back to the store and started playing with all the different convertibles and doing more of a deep dive. And I like that functionality. Like, for the same amount of money as one that doesn't have touchscreen, with the same specs, but also getting this added bonus of being able to write on it. I want to draw, is what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to draw, and I can draw on this thing. I think that's so cool. Like, sets it apart from all the other ones. Like, when they're all i8s, they're all essentially this exact same chipsets and motherboards, just different cases, basically. I really liked the ZenBook. It felt good in convertible mode. The edges all lined up. The bezels, or the hinges look nice. So anyway, I'm sending it back. Maybe if I got one where the hinges weren't fucked up, but I don't know. The edges not lining up just doesn't feel good in your hand holding it convertible. Whereas like the ZenBook and the Dell XPS 13 felt much.
I really, really right now wish I had a very small violin, because this sounds like the most first world problem I have ever heard. It is, but you sound like that like little rich kid that's like, yes, it's just, you know, this Ferrari doesn't quite go fast enough, you know. I'm just gonna have to take it back and get a different one.
I wish it was. I wish it was fucking Ferraris I was complaining about, not stupid laptops. But it's like when you're spending $1,700, if you don't like it, you shouldn't have to put up with any little.
No, absolutely. I'm not arguing
so I'm
that.
Just saying
it's just funny.
Anyone was looking at this laptop, because had I gotten one where the hinges weren't like fucked up, I probably would have just been super happy and just kept it. So now I'm fucking sending it back, and I don't have a laptop because I gave my laptop to my wife. So I don't know. I might hold out. There might be a MacBook refresh coming soon, and I might just get another MacBook.
Oh God, good luck with that.
I wish the Razer Blade Stealth was a convertible, and then I would buy that.
Man, there's so many fucking convertibles out there. Lenovo makes a dope ass convertible.
I don't like the Yoga. I don't like the hinges on it. I looked at that as well.
Man, you and your fucking hinges.
It looks weird.
Get yourself a Surface Book there.
Have you actually seen it
Dude,
in real life?
Do you know what I do for a living?
I do.
Of course I've seen it in real life.
I don't like it looks weird. I don't like the way it looks.
Oh man. Yeah.
I know it's a highly regarded convertible for sure.
I'm like I said, and I don't know. After it all, I'm not a huge convertible guy. So
yeah, it's a very niche thing.
They're fine.
I just figure if I'm getting an ultralight that have all the same specs, I see myself using it in tablet mode. I travel a lot. You can't use your fucking laptop on a plane in laptop mode.
Sure you can.
Have you traveled with a laptop in a plane and not had someone almost like break your laptop because they flew the chair back?
Yeah, I've traveled with my
when
laptop.
You have that experience.
Hasn't been an issue, but
a little scary, and you don't have a lot of space. That tablet mode is pretty fucking cool.
Well, just buy yourself a Surface Book, and it can actually be a fucking tablet.
Yeah, they're so expensive.
You don't even have to have a convertible then.
Specs in them. So anyway, we're going off on a tangent. I will update you when I get a laptop. I don't know. I might wait a while and see what happens. I might buy.
It's just funny because everything you just told me, like you said, like, oh yeah, like maybe I'll just hold out for another MacBook. MacBooks don't even have fucking touch screens, and you're not gonna get like, I don't know. It's just funny.
I know. I might change.
You're saying one thing, you're like, oh yeah, I want this for this, and then you're telling me, oh yeah, I might just buy another MacBook, which has all the things that you can't even do with what you want and what you're saying you need it for.
I don't need it for anything.
Well, clearly you don't fucking need a convertible if you're gonna buy a MacBook. So then, if that's the logic, just buy a fucking Razer Blade Stealth and call it a day. Like,
yeah, and they're
complaining about
the Razer Blade.
I know.
I just don't. I haven't been able to see. No one has a Razer Blade in town for me to look at. So they're
dope. I have one. I use it every day for work. I've had it for a year and a half now.
I know you love it. I
won't lie. Like initially, it had some issues, but after a few firmware updates and some driver software and stuff, it's been super solid.
It's the only one I can't see in person.
Yeah,
I wish I could see it. Because it
is by far and away the closest thing. It is by far and away, as somebody who deals with all of this shit every single fucking day, it is by far and away the closest PC that I've come across that feels like a MacBook, if you will.
Oh yeah, it looks beautiful in photos.
Like the one that I have for work is obviously a couple years old now because I got it in like 2016, I think. I've got, well, at that point they only came in one size, but I've got the 1440p screen, like, so not the 4K, but not the 1080p.
MacBook.
Yep. It's got a touch screen though.
Yeah, that does have touch screen. It's just not convertible.
Yep. It's, 8 gigs of RAM. Mine at the time, now they've got 16 gigs, i7. It was only a dual core, but the new ones have the quad core with hyperthreading, which is pretty dope. Like I said, they're beautiful. They're really nice machines.
That's why I kind of wanted the new one and was looking at all these, because these all have just gone through a refresh with the new i7, and I edit the podcast on my laptop sometimes, and that extra power, instead of 10 minutes, 15 minutes to export the MP3, it'll probably cut it in half.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely helps for sure.
Anyway, sorry. Yeah. Poor me. Cry me a river.
Yeah, it's pretty hard for us to feel sorry for you.
With that, Dane, I'm gonna say we have a show.
That's 141 in the bag, yo.
Yeah, 141. You and Jude did a good job last week. We'll have to have him back.
Yeah, we will.
Make sure. If you enjoy the show, if you haven't already, please subscribe to us on YouTube. You can find us youtube.com/Geekoholics. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Geekoholics. Find us on Twitter @Geekoholics. And then, of course, you can follow me on Twitter @RickF.
You can always come bug me on Twitter @DaneCody, DAYNECODY.
And yeah, catch me online killing some freaking monsters.
Yeah.
On Xbox.
I'm leaning more towards PS4, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I need to justify owning an Xbox One X. It looks real pretty.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't have a 4K TV, so for me, it's neither here nor there.
That's
but
true.
way more people that I know are playing on PS4 is the problem that I'm running into.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if... Yeah. Anyway. Until next week, we're out.
Catch you later.
Peace.